Welcome everyone to the public launch of the Southeast Asian Digital Archive at UMass Lowell. My name is Sue Kim. I am the project director for the Southeast Asian Digital Archive, and I wear a few other hats. I am the co-director for the Center for Asian American Studies. I'm professor of English. I am currently associate dean for undergraduate studies in the College of Fine Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences. This is me, Xiong, who is the CETA archivist and my favorite person on the planet. The Southeast Asian Digital Archive, or CETA for short, is a community-based archive of cultural heritage materials from Southeast Asian American communities in the Lowell region. It is fully online and free to all. Our goals are simple: to provide a secure, long-lasting, accessible resource for community members, researchers, students, teachers, and others. CETA is a collaboration between the UMass Lowell Center for Asian American Studies, the UMass Lowell Libraries, and Southeast Asian American communities in the region. Our homepage is www.uml.edu/CETA, and we'll go over it a little bit later in the program. So this project has been in development for a while, but today we've come together to celebrate how far the CETA has come and how far we can go. Before we continue, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that this event is taking place on traditional Pawtucket and Wamasett Confederacy land. We'd like to thank our generous sponsors. This project would not have been possible without a major grant from the National Endowment for the Humanities. CETA has also received support from the UMass Creative Economy Fund, the Lowell Cultural Council, the Chancellor's 2020 Challenge Grant, the Nancy Donahue Endowed Professor in the Arts, the Indo-Chinese Refugee Fund, and Drs. Kim and Shin Oh. In addition, we're thrilled to announce that the Center for Asian American Studies has received a Theodore Edson Parker Foundation grant for continued teacher trainings on Southeast Asian American history and culture, drawing on resources of the CETA. We'd like to thank our community organization partners, which include the Cambodian Mutual Assistance Association, the Khmer Post USA, Angkor Dance Troupe, the Sadanar Community Development Association, the Bhutanese Community of Lowell, the Lowell National Historical Park, the Songus Industrial History Center, and many others. And I would like to give a special shout out to Jim Higgins, I don't think he's here tonight, and Carol Kierstead. We also invite collaboration with new community partners. As we'll see, this is a living archive, and there's literally no end to what we can be. We also would like to thank our wise and generous advisory board members. Linda Chan Flynn from the Lowell Community Health Center. Say hi, Linda. Sheila Kirschbaum, the director of the Songus Industrial History Center. Pon Knockham, attorney at law. Where's Pon? Savannah Poe, the executive director of the Cambodian Mutual Assistance Association. He couldn't be here tonight, they're out of town, but Savannah. Laurel Racine, chief of cultural resources at the Lowell National Historical Park. She couldn't be here tonight, but Celeste, you can give a hi for her. Sophia Team, who is the producer of Lost Child, Sion's Journey, and Belong Zhang, the former vice president of the Lao Mutual Assistance Association. I will now turn it over to Mi Zhang, who will acknowledge the many people who've made CETA possible.
So I would like to take a moment to thank the various individuals who worked this last year to get CETA off the ground and to where we are today. I know many people couldn't make it tonight, but some of you are here. And when I say your name, if you could please just wave your hand, that'd be great. First, I would like to thank our current CETA team members. Krishna Kun, our community outreach coordinator. Julia Hun, our digital media consultant. We are also very lucky to have and have had amazing individuals work on the CETA with us, including a number of students and interns. These individuals work on oral histories They create finding aids for the archival collections. They scan, describe, and upload materials from collections so that when they get online, they look awesome. And then they review and test our Omeka site to make sure that it looks great and that it works and that it makes sense. These individuals are Etsuko Benton, Monita Chia, Suming Chia, Kale Connerty, Bridget Cooley, Christian Hernandez, Sam Kong, Pactra Lynch, Ann Men, Zachary Nigerian Najafi, Taylor Nestor, Chornai Pech, Ali Saintius, Chameng Sun, Tenzin Tulasang, and Vivian So. And then there are the wonderful library folks that I work alongside with. There's Janine Whitcomb, who runs the Center for Lowell History, where all of the physical archives are located. There is Tony Sampas, who has valuable institutional memory and lots of knowledge on legacy projects. There's Ellen Keene, who is cataloging archival collections into WorldCat so that these collections can be discovered through library catalogs around the world. There's Meg Shields, our resident LibGuides expert, Marguerite Grant, our resident Omeka expert, Sean Sullivan and Celine Baudry, who are really the backbone of the library and who got us all organized today. Then there's Kelly Morin, Sarah Marks, Sheila Kale, who've supported us in various different ways. We're also grateful for former library individuals, Joe Fisher, Martha Mayo, Mehmet Ali, and then our current library director, George Hart, for supporting us and making time to answer our many, many questions. I'm sure I'm forgetting other names, and I apologize for that, but thank you so much. We could not have made it to where we are without you all.
Thank you so much, everyone, for turning out. This has been a labor of love. Sue does all the hard work and I do all the crying. When we came in 2011, I told her about this great archive. I used to teach elementary school in Long Beach, who has the largest Khmer population outside of Cambodia. And UC Irvine has a digital archive. And I'm like, that's a beautiful thing to have, because it immortalizes our community's stories. So our community has been here for 40 years. And in those 40 years, our stories have not been documented. And so, for me, this is the actualization of our community stories. It's a collection of our collective history of being refugees from the killing fields, refugees from the secret war on Laos, and refugees from the Vietnam War. And so, as you can tell from all the community members and all the names that you heard, we wanted to acknowledge them first because it was their voices that helped contribute to the creation and the process of this project. And so, this is just the beginning. And so, it's wonderful to see you all here. And we hope that this is going to be an intergenerational project. And so, as you can see, my son here, who's 9 years old, this would be the first time that he sees some of this historical pieces, because some of you may know that the K-12 system lacks a lot of the primary documents, lacks the history of some of our marginalized communities. And this is our attempt at bringing alive those stories so that they could be a resource. So we have lesson plans here, as well as primary sources. I have the honor of welcoming our Chancellor of UMass Lowell, Jackie Moloney, who is a national leader in innovation and and higher education. For some of you who may know, she is the first woman to lead a university since our inception in 1894. And she's the chief administrator, so she's our head honcho. That means she manages our $500 million budget, oversees our 2,000 employees, and welcomes our more than 18,000 students, right? And in 2017, she was recognized as one of the 7 prominent women who mean business. Right, I like to say that she beat out Harvard at that time, which is our little alma mater. And so in her more than 30 years as UMass Lowell Chancellor, Moloney has served in a number of roles as professor, as researcher, as dean, and executive vice chancellor. But one role that you may not know of is that she served as the 2nd executive director of the Indo-Chinese Refugee Foundation, or the IRF, that was created by 2 community members, Hai and Lan Pho, from Vietnam. So from the years of 1980 to 1981, Chancellor Moloney gained first-hand knowledge of the complexity of resettling refugees. She was the one who helped oversee not only the job placement, but educational services, like English second language, to translation services. So she was the one who helped people to get jobs and homes and translations in hospitals, and she did this all while she was pregnant. So she's an amazing woman who understood not only the complexity of how trauma works in our community, and how to work with communities in a culturally respectful and responsive way, but she continues to build community. And her support of our community has been, I think, unsung. I think so many people in the Southeast Asian community did not realize what a champion that we have in our Chancellor, because she was one of the first to help resettle us. And she continues to do so now in her role as the Chancellor. And so I would like to say Algun, Gaman, Wacha, and Kapchai Lai, which is in Lao means we will remember you in our hearts for all of your hard work and your continued support. Please help us welcome Chancellor Jacqueline Moloney.
So go ahead and try not to be emotional after that. Welcome. Thank you, Phitsamay. That was beautiful, and thank you for setting the context for today's reunion of so many people who have worked so hard in this community. It's really an honor to be here to welcome all of you, our great partners, to hear the list of people that were involved in pulling together this very important archive. I just cannot tell you how grateful we all are, and I'd especially like to congratulate the co-directors, Sue Kim and Phitsamay, for your leadership in building this wonderful archive and this incredible Center for Asian Studies here at UMass Lowell. We couldn't be more proud to have you here. And to hear you, Phitsamay. Well, first of all, I am going to start every meeting from now on. If we clap together 3 times, it means you're ready to start. So what do I do when I want to end a meeting, though? Kidding. But honestly, to hear that all the work that you've done collecting these important stories that will live on forever and that will help us to repeat the incredible story that happened in this city and how the Southeast Asian community transformed this city, knowing that all of our children now will be able to come here and access that forever, is so important. And we can't thank you and all of our partners enough for doing that. Thank you all. This is an incredible body of work. As Phitsamay said, it was 30 years ago, so this is an incredible circle for me in my life, to be here, to stand with you, to celebrate this archive. It was an incredibly challenging time in this city in the 1980s. And I have to tell you, it was an experience that changed my life and me forever. so you got me in trouble. And I forgot I was pregnant during all that, which definitely added to the complexity, I will just say. But coming into it, I was a director. I was a lot like I am now. I like to tell people what to do and how to do it. But I was at a very different stage in my life, and this experience was transformative because I learned about challenges in the rest of the world. What was happening in the 80s is there was an incredible, quick influx of Southeast Asian members, refugees who came to Lowell in a way that this city was not prepared to experience. And it happened for a lot of different reasons. Part of it was that there was such a good critical mass here that there were Southeast Asian refugees landing all over the country. And I remember getting calls of people who were in, Podunk, Illinois, by themselves, a whole family with no cultural support, no one there to help them, and they wanted to know if they could come here and be safe. This city went through such a transformation. There were days, there probably wasn't a day, that I didn't get a call from a school or a hospital that said, we need help. We need help. We just picked up a family on Merrimack Street. There are 10 of them. They have no shoes and no winter coat, and the weather was like this. It happened daily. The whole residential situation was overwhelmed. Schools didn't know what to do. At the Southeast Asian Refugee Center, we had 6 interpreters, and God loved them. They were amazing because they had survived their own trauma as refugees and came here, and with very, very few English skills, helped us to transition this entire community, thousands of refugees that were in crisis, into this community. But I'll tell you, that experience for me and how this city responded cemented my love for this city forever. And that's what changed me forever, because I saw that communities do make a difference. People make a difference. People were in crisis. And I reached out to the schools and the hospitals, and I want to say we have with us tonight our Mayor, Bill Samaras, and City Councilor, Vesna Nuon, both who are great leaders and an important part of this city. And really we're there, Bill, in those days when the high school was going through a lot, and we really didn't know how to respond. But I can tell you, this city came together and we built infrastructure and we built systems and we responded in a very holistic, compassionate, wonderful way, which is what brought more refugees to the city. It's what brought this great, strong community of Southeast Asians that we now have in this city. We brought and built the history of the culture, of integrating the culture of the Southeast Asian refugee community into the city, and we've proved to refugee populations since then that this is a go-to city. When you are in crisis, we will be here for you and we will work with you. And we did do that. And look at the beautiful culture we have built. It's remarkable. So thank you all for being partners. Thank you for this incredible archive. I look forward to viewing it many times myself. I would also like to acknowledge Carol Kierstead, who actually followed in my footsteps after, true story. So we really worked hard. We were building, we had the momentum, and I was pregnant. And I went to the hospital. And the day I was leaving, literally, I was in labor, and he said, well, Jackie, before you leave, we have a couple more things we have to get straight. I'm like, I gotta go. But that's the way the foes were, right? They were relentless, tireless, but having that infrastructure around us. And I have to say, this beautiful, loving community, when I delivered my daughter, and the nurse came in to me and she said, I'm sorry to interrupt you, bud. There are 15 people out in the waiting room. You have to go out and tell them you're okay, because they're not leaving. And it was this beautiful Southeast Asian community that had become part of my family. But Carol Kierstead, who took my place at the International Institute at the Southeast Asian Foundation and really took this work to the next level. For me, it was getting the food, the clothing, and the housing. For Carol, she's the one who built the agency to do the extension into education, job placement, and then building temples in communities where people felt welcome. So Carol, wherever you are out there you are. Amazing work. So again, we have much to celebrate today. Such great work that's been done. So many wonderful, compassionate people, communities, people. We do make a difference. We made a difference here, and we look forward to looking through these archives. And now it is my great pleasure to introduce to you our Provost, Michael Vayda, and as he's coming up, I would also like to acknowledge our Dean of the College of Fine Arts, Humanities, Social Science, who I know is also a big supporter of this project, Dean Luis Falcone. Thank you for all your help.
Thank you, Chancellor Moloney. It's a real pleasure to be here tonight. The Southeast Asian Digital Archive is a gem for UMass Lowell. I want to welcome everyone again, both from the UMass Lowell community as well as from the city of Lowell. Thank you all for joining us in this great endeavor. The Southeast Asian Digital Archive was founded in 2017. It's a collaboration between the UMass Lowell Center for Asian American Studies, UMass Lowell Libraries, and the local Southeast Asian communities. The purpose of the archive is to build a lasting, user-friendly online resource for community members, researchers, students, teachers, and the community as a whole. The purpose is greater than that. It celebrates the history of the city of Lowell, going back to the early 1800s, 1825, where we welcomed wave after wave of immigrant communities into the city of Lowell, integrating and developing who we are as a city. The archive captures many of those stories of our most recent community members, tells people's stories, captures people's lives, and helps us to understand, promote peace, and develop the fabric of our very communities. With all the angst in the world right now, it's efforts such as this to understand each other's stories and cultures that brings us all together as a people. So far, the digital archive has 220 individual items that have been digitized, cataloged, described, and uploaded, including photographs, posters, documents, program materials from the Anchor Dance Troupe, documents from the Burmese community of Lowell, and the James Higgins Lowell book collections. This is an ongoing project, and we expect many more materials to be added in the near future. The initiative was undertaken by the UMass Lowell Center for Asian American Studies, which promotes research and education on Asian Americans, one of the few specially dedicated for that purpose in the United States, and especially concentrates on Southeast Asian Americans of New England. It works in collaboration with partners in the community to advocate the education, health, civic engagement, and culture of Southeast Asian Americans. I would like to recognize the outstanding leadership of the center's co-directors, Professor Sue Kim and Professor Phitsamay. We are fortunate to have such dedicated, caring, and talented people such as Dr. Kim and Dr. Oy, who have led this effort not only to establish the Center for Asian American Studies, but also direct on a daily basis the process of setting up the digital archive. The Center for Asian American Studies continues to be a source of pride for the UMass Lowell community. It enables us to be engaged as a creative part of the city of Lowell and the surrounding areas, telling those stories of people who are integral to our community. And at the same token, the center encourages members of the Lowell community to see the university both as a resource and a partner in advancing the awareness of those issues that are particularly germane to Southeast Americans and their experience. I'm delighted to be here and offer my support to further the efforts of the archive and the center.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Moloney and Provost Vayda. So now it is my very great pleasure to introduce the Honorable William Samaras, the Mayor of Lowell.
Well, I want to thank you, everybody, for the invitation to be here. You know, as a former history teacher and former head of the City of Lowell's History Department, this is an important venture. I want to commend Sue Kim and all the staff of the university for what they've done. But I know one thing, you know, what we expect from the university is economic development and leadership. But what Jackie Moloney certainly understands that. But it's also about people. It's also about understanding the various groups that make up or comprise our city of Lowell. And I want to thank Jackie Moloney for, you know, thinking above what has to be, but what should be. Thank you for that. But the thing is, I just want to point out a specific group, we'll say the Cambodian people, for this, you know, in creating this archive. What I've seen, when I went to Cambodia, I was able to see the greatness of the people at Angkor Wat. There's no question about that. When I went to the killing fields, I saw the problems that beset the Cambodian people. And what I see here today is now creating a new history for the Cambodian people and all people. They've come into this country, they've come into this city, and they're helping to make the city of Lowell just a better place. But it's important that we acknowledge the contributions of the various groups that come into the city. And yes, I use some specificity with the Cambodian people, but all people in the Southeast Asian area of the world. I mean, you've come into this city, we've come in with, we'll say, a different philosophy than Western philosophy, but it's a marriage of great philosophies to make this country an even better place. And I could go on forever talking about the importance of something like this, but I think everybody here certainly does understand what I'm talking about. And what I'm talking about is that we need to save these type of materials. Primary material is important. We want our children to understand where they came from, but we want our children to understand where they are and what they have to do to assimilate and to make this a better place. Sometimes we use the word assimilation. Is that a proper word? We use so many words to describe the emergence of new people to a country, but it's not so much assimilation to me. It's a coming together of various philosophies, various religions, various areas of thought, and again, to make this a better place. So I just want to commend the university for being outstanding in this area and doing something a little different, going beyond the needs of what a university should do, but going into the community and serving the community. Thank you for that.
Please give it up for Dr. Phitsamay and Dr. Kim for the great work they put together. I know not many people know about Chancellor Moloney, what she's done for the Asian community, particularly the Cambodian community when we first came here. All you know is that she's a leader in this institution. Not many know that when we first came here, she's the one who helped us, guide us, find us place, food, and apartment. So we want to thank her very much for that. As you know, we do not want to talk about painful and traumatic experience, in particularly the Southeast Asian community. We rather keep it silent. We rather don't want to talk about it at all. So the mainstream culture really don't know about our Cambodian or Southeast Asian history in America and why we immigrate here to Lowell. As a child of killing field, it is very important that we archive our history. I know not just with Cambodian, but also in these cases we're talking about Laos and Vietnamese who came here. It's important to archive our history for our younger generation. The Khmer Rouge try to wipe out our culture from existence with their social cleansing by killing scholar, lawyer, doctors, using temples as weapon storage, burning books, and turning school into interrogation chambers. currently most schools are not talk about this dark period of time. So it is very important that we have this institution, we have this South Asian digital archive to document this for our younger generation. You know, who are we really without our history? History tends to repeat itself if we don't know or we don't learn from it. Say that it's not just a treasure for our community. It serves as an open time capsule for people, for our community, for our people, to share with the world where we were and how we get here and how we're doing now. So it's important. So I'm very honored and pleasure to be here, to be part of this. Thank you all for doing it. And there's a test to the crowd that you have today for the great work you have done. I will continue to be a part of this if I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilor Nuon. Our last speaker is Lowell treasure, a regional treasure, a national, international treasure. He's the co-founder of the Angkor Dance Troupe. Please help me in welcoming Tim too.
Thank you. ជំរាបសួរអស់លោកលោកត្រីទាំងអស់ដែលបានអញ្ជើញមកដល់ទីនេះ First of all, my name is Tim Tu. I'm the co-founder of the dance troupe. I've been started in 1986 when I was only 23 years old. I think some of them probably know the Angkor troupe, some is don't. But today is a great honor that I'm here in front of you, that is before you. I mean to talk about a little bit about the history of the dance and also a little bit about archive. That's important. So when about 6-7 years ago, I met Dr. Mehmet Ali. So and then we share about the document that I have, which is a basement, and also most of them in an American Cultural Center. And then I talk about that, where are we going to keep those? How can I share that? How can I do that? So only thing that we can do, only that we can put so much in the website, but it's not enough to share to many people. And then he came to me and then they say that, well, right now he works in UMass Lowell, which is under Center for American Study, and that way so he can give me all the information so we can put to the archive so we can share to most people. I said, that's great. And then he came to my house with Xiong. So I gave to most everything. I went downstairs, I took all those boxes, and also I went to the other storage to get everything, and he said, give me everything. So what we gonna do, we're gonna bring to the UMass Lowell, and then it's gonna be capture all those digital, put everything to digital, and then you're gonna try to put a story together. So how it start from those 1986 to back to that day. I believe it's to the almost to 2010. That's what the whole archive that we have, and also plus all the other documents that he didn't take it because some of them is kind of like the black and white. That's hard to see it. So that why we took some of that, and most are like photos and also some of the other information. So Ali and I share so many things and regarding about that information about that the fly, about the newspaper that we have that I then kept in, and those kind of things that only most I know, but it's not good for me just to know that I want to share to the community. So that's important. And then I shared that's a great thing, and he said that's a good idea. If you have that kind of idea like that, so UMass is the Center for the Art, so they can do it. They can help you to turn it to digital archive and share to the community. So I'm here, it's a great honor, and to UMass Lowell and the Center for American Study, which is Dr. Sue Kim, and which is done, and also plus her staff, which is put those together, all those archive and information. I haven't seen yet, so I know that I kind of like so exciting, and so I'm looking forward to that. So today I brought like a couple young dancers So we just today we have rehearsed at the Morgan Center. So it probably so we had to go there before that day's over. So right now they're here somewhere down in the backstage, so the back of the library. So they hope to see that. So I mentioned that they have a big screen, a wide screen, and behind me they're gonna be televised or put something to show them. But I don't see anything there, right? So it's right here. So but for me, I'm looking forward to see it as well. But I haven't seen that any like picture at all, so that I don't know where to look for it. But I'm hope that, so I'm excited about that. So but I hope that our young generation and also plus the community and also that community is global, which is that we'll be able to see, be able to learn through those picture and the story. And thanks again, and thank you all again, and God bless you. Thank you.